Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mabimpressions, and today I want to talk about Darkest Dungeon 2. It's been a while since the first one, and this one has very big drastic changes. Are they good? Are they bad? Are the fans of the first game going to like this one? We're gonna get into it, but before we do, if you guys like these sort of videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. I do upload videos daily, and if you have any questions about the game, please put them down below and I'll try to answer them. So we're gonna give you an overall summary of the game, covering gameplay, the presentation, the graphics, the music, what did I like, what did I dislike, and of course my final verdict, so make sure to stay till the end of the video when I give you my final rating. Alright, so starting with the summary, this was developed and published both by Red Hook Studios. And no, this one is actually not a review copy. I purchased it myself. This game was released on October 26, 2021, and it's going for $29.99 US. It is an Epic Game Store exclusive. I don't know when it's coming to Steam, so hey, if that's a deal breaker for you, unfortunate, but hey, I think it's a good game to try it on there. So the story is pretty simple. The first game had you controlling an estate where, you had a base group of ragtag groups. So you would go towards the darkest dungeon and try to defeat the darkness within. In number 2, it seems like you might have, suppressed it for a while, but eventually it's spread out to the world, and instead of an estate, you are traveling in a stage coach trying to use the final eternal flame or the goodness flame and try to get to the final area, which is the mountain. The genre is, like I mentioned, it is early access. This one is more of a heavy roguelike than the first one. It is turn-based combat, dark fantasy, very difficult, but a high replayability. Time to jump into the gameplay. So the majority of the game, you're going to be doing combat, traversing the world, and doing a lot of the roguelike aspects and unlocking things. Let's go into the specifics for combat. I'm not going to go into every little detail because there is quite a lot. I'll try to give you a little bit of an overview plus some slight differences from the first game to this one. So one of the big ones in combat is you can now see your turn order. Depending on your speed, you're going to go first or last in the order everyone goes, but you can actually see who's going to be moving next. Is really nice. Another huge thing is there is actually no miss chance base and no dodge chance bases in the game. Everything is going to be hitting 100% unless it says otherwise, and you get specific tokens. So debuffs and buffs work like this. You use a skill, and sometimes it gives you a guard token, which makes it so you get a flat 50% reduction on your next attack hit. Sometimes you get a dodge chance or a greater dodge, 50%, 75% chance to miss. You blind an enemy, 50% chance. So it has a lot of that sort of things. So it's all about, putting different tokens on yourself, debuffs on the enemies, and purging or buffing it even more. The stress system is a little different this time. It doesn't straight out kill you if you get to 100. In the first game, it was 0 to 100. If you're stressed by any means, like seeing a lot of horrible things, maybe some bad events happen to you, your stress will go to 0 to 100. Once it hits 100, you have a chance to be very boisterous, have a buff or a really high chance of having negative stuff. And if it goes to 100 again while you are in that negative state, you have a chance to die via a heart attack. In this one, they change it up so it's it's nice and simple. It's 0 to 1 stress. However, the stress does a little bit of different things here. You can still acquire stress by being attacked by certain enemy things, but it randomly goes up, and sometimes when you are doing certain decisions in the game, events or whatever, or even attacking an enemy, your other characters around you can give you praise or they can hate on you for whatever reason. If the stress goes up all the way, you start getting into really terrible relationship statuses with your other characters, and depending on if you like the person or not, they can increase your stress even more and give you debuffs during battle or give you buffs during battle. Like I said, there's no specific heart attack, but if you do get your stress all the way up, it lowers your HP to like 5% if you hit the max. So it doesn't straight out kill you, but it makes it really easy for you to die by like physical strikes. Another huge change in the game ties in with the stress system, and that's the affinity system. Every time you start a game, you're going to be getting 4 characters and their quirks, and the good quirks, the bad quirks, and whether or not they're going to like someone is completely random. However, you can change it up by using specific items and doing actions, which we'll go into soon, but pretty much you know, one character likes another one, sometimes they hate another one, and it's all over the place. So that's pretty much the combat. You either win or you lose, because this is more of a roguelike game than the first one, where you're going to be doing a run and then dying, doing a run and dying. There's no retreating for battles for the most part. You either win or you lose. Now let's move on to the traversing part of the game. Like I said at the beginning, you are no longer in an estate. You are traveling with your stagecoach, trying to deliver your torch to the mountain. You start in different acts. There's Act 1, which is despair, then you keep going down. And each act is one gigantic level. So think of it kind of like Ascensions in Slay the Spire or other roguelikes, where you try to beat the game on one difficulty, then you beat it, and then another difficulty, and then you beat it. So each act is made up of different stages. You got the first one, and then you go to the second one, third one, and then the mountain. You are manually controlling your stagecoach here, driving left and right, bumping into stuff and going towards encounters. There's a map on the left which shows you different pathways to go. If you have scouting, you can see what's ahead. There's a lot of different things like resistance encounters, which is basic fights. You have roadside fights, which is really weird. Roadside fights is 1 to 5 turns, and if you don't kill the enemies in 5 turns, it ends and you get nothing. So roadside fights is pretty much an in-between, you know, from the encounters. There are helpful encounters like survivors, which can increase your torch, give you food, etc. There's a lot of upgrade nodes, specifically ones that permanently unlock skills for your characters via their backstories, which is a nice touch. I really like that. There's the inn, which acts as your, you know, starting points, your midpoint, your other midpoint. It's pretty much checkpoints between all of the havoc in between, and in there all of your characters are there. You can use all the acquired food that you gain to cure them a little bit, to reduce stress. There's a lot of things new called inn items, which help you you know, help the people kind of cooperate more. You sometimes choose 2 characters with boxing gloves, maybe to increase their strength, but also maybe increase their affinity. So there's a lot of back and forth, and it's a lot of randomness for sure, whether or not a character likes someone or not. Then there are the bosses, which are at the, you know, the very ends of each act. So like I said, if you play games like Slay the Spire, you go through a ton of small different events, try to survive as long as you can, upgrading as you go, you know, as much as you can, and then a boss at the end, and then a checkpoint, and then you're going to keep going until you get to the mountain. You're going to be doing that, and then once you beat it or not, you're going to be unlocking the next act, and then you just keep going. Now let's talk about the roguelike aspects and the unlocks. Like I said, it's not an estate, so you're going to be choosing new characters every single time you play the game. Runs can last anywhere from between like half an hour to like an hour and a half, depending on how far you go, how many items you've used, how many things you have done, how far you've traveled, how many fights you've done. When you lose a run, your profile levels up, and this is where things get interesting, and I personally like this change. I know the first game was very big on, you know, permanent estates. It lasts for like dozens of hours. You're slowly upgrading each building, slowly upgrading each character, but here it's like, no, you make a team, randomness, go through some stages, you go as far as you can, you die, you start over. It's a very good game loop, and it works well in roguelikes and deck builders. However, in this one, when you upgrade your profile level, you're going to be unlocking classes at specific intervals. So because you just start with the basic 4, you unlock like the leper later, the occultist, etc. Once you get the high profile, you unlock trinkets to find in future runs, different food, and different buffs and debuff quirks. At the moment of this recording, there is about, I think, 40 to 50 profile levels, and at the last tail end of 20, you hardly unlock anything but like maybe 1 quirk or something per stage. But you know, you're slowly increasing your chances of winning the next one, the next runs, because not only are you hopefully unlocking permanent skills within the events in the game, but you're learning all the different environments, which enemies can do what, and which trinkets are best on each character, and just, you know, unlocking new powerful options. All right, moving on to the presentation, the graphics and the design. Oh my god, this is huge. This is great. This is a big upgrade. Beautiful 2D 3D models on both your characters and the enemies. It just looks top-notch, AAA. Oh, super crisp. I love it a lot. They nailed that crazy, grotesque, dark fantasy look. The enemies and the environments are amazing when you're using the stagecoach, and they are very different when you choose a different path. The sounds and musics, of course, you know, it's Darkest Dungeon. They have some really good, amazing, awesome, great music. And then when you go into fights, it's that epicness music. But I know a lot of people are going to be asking, hey, is it the same narrator from the first game? Well, I don't have the 100% definitive answer. It sounds like him. It really does sound like him. And I don't see why not they would have brought him back. So, yeah, Darkest Dungeon. Moving on to the pros and cons. So what did I like? What are the main selling points of the game? Well, this being a Darkest Dungeon IP, you know you're gonna get quality if you do pick this up, and I do agree with it. I love most of the changes. I like how it's a run, you lose, you upgrade. It's a run, you lose, you upgrade it. You know, it gives you a lot of experimentations. And one thing that they did is they made healing a little bit more easier. A lot more characters can do it via just skills or items, rather than having I think in the first game it was a vessel, like the nun-ish priestess character. She would be used in almost every single thing you had. You probably needed to recruit like 5 of them. So here, you know, you can have a team of just pure fighters, which is nice. So it gives you more options for that sort of things. It's a very easy game to pick up and play, and there's pretty okay balance. What did I dislike and what would I change? First of all, yeah, the game is in early access, so there's definitely a lot of balance that needs to be done. I'm not gonna nitpick that because that's something that could just change on a whim. What are some of the key aspects in the game that definitely need to change, and you know, maybe just it's not that great? I would have to say maybe the biggest thing besides the quick easy changes is the road battles. They're okay, and I know they're meant to be like quick passing fights, but the fact that you can go in, and if you have a setup of a team that's a little slower than the other ones, maybe you're building damage over time, and rather than quick killing them, you're gonna lose before turn 5, and basically you're gonna get 0 rewards. So it's not really balanced that way. But I don't know what they can do. Maybe increase the turnover to maybe 6 or 7 or something like that. And another thing, it's big for me, so I will say it, even though I did say it's early access, it can change, is the UI. A lot of the text is very, very small. I know they're going for that minimalistic look on the combat screen, but there's just so much empty space unless you're hovering over something. It just doesn't look that good to me compared to the first one. The first one, wow, the whole screen is filled with things. I love it a lot, but here it's just like, well, the UI is like whatever. All right, so the final verdict. Once again, it's a great game. I really like it a lot. I think fans of the first game will love it. Just know the main key differences. For example, if you don't like the idea of having a permanent estate that you're going to be building over dozens of hours, this is definitely a deal breaker for you. But if you're like, you like that get in, get out gameplay, this is really good. It's really good. Amazing quality overall. And of course, like I said, the track record of the first game has been in development for a while. When it first launched and came out, a lot of things added, new DLC, new patches, modding up the ass. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to mod on this one. It's on Epic Store. I don't know when it's coming out on Steam. But yes, my final verdict for this game is going to be a 75%. I usually never give 100% for early access games, and this one is no difference. It's a strong recommend, but it's an easy in, easy out play. Good differences. The first game's always there if you want it, but I think this one is a great sequel, and I can't wait to see what they build upon there. So that's it. Gonna end this one here. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. It helps a lot. If you haven't already subbed for daily videos, let me know if you have any questions down below. Also in the comments, in the description is gonna be my playlist to my Darkest Dungeon Let's Play. If you guys are interested, I'll be uploading daily videos of that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.